The night sky above the colony world was calm, filled with stars that looked so peaceful, but far beyond that calm surface, danger was moving closer. A massive alien fleet drifted out of the void, their warships dark and sharp like blades, engines glowing as they surrounded the small human colony. The people below had no idea what was coming. They lived simple lives, mining, farming, and raising families. They thought they were safe at the edge of known space. The alien commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, his eyes cold, his mouth twisted into a cruel smile. To him, this mission was nothing more than a small job, a show of power. Humans were weak in his mind. He had been told they were young, careless and foolish. They had built a few ships, but they were nothing compared to the mighty Empire. He laughed when his officers reported only one human warship was on its way. One ship against hundreds. The human ship broke from hyperspace, silent and steady. It was not as large as the alien dreadnoughts, not as sharp in design. It looked simple, but there was something strange about it. The way its shields flickered, the way its hull glowed faintly in the dark. The alien officers scanned it and found little. They mocked it. They said it was a mining ship dressed as a warship, but the human ship did not retreat. It moved slowly into the middle of the alien fleet, like a predator walking calmly into a circle of prey. The alien commander grew annoyed. He gave the order to destroy it quickly. Beams of energy cut across the void. Missiles lit the black space like burning arrows. The human ship vanished for a second. Its form blurred, then reappeared unharmed. The alien bridge grew quiet. Officers checked and rechecked their screens. The weapons had hit, but nothing happened. The human shields were stronger than anything they had seen. Stronger than their best science, stronger than their oldest records. The alien commander shouted for all ships to fire, and the stars exploded with light. Still, the human ship remained, silent and untouched. Then, without warning, it answered. One single beam of white fire lanced out from its front cannon. The beam cut through an alien cruiser as if it were made of paper. The ship cracked, broke, and exploded. The soundless shockwave lighting up the void. The aliens gasped. The commander froze. Another beam fired. And another ship was gone, then another. The human vessel moved slowly, not rushing, not afraid. Its weapons carved through warships as though they were nothing. Panic spread across the alien fleet. Hundreds of ships turned their guns on the single intruder, but the intruder moved with perfect calm, dodging when it wanted, absorbing fire when it did not care on the colony below. Miners and families stood outside their homes. Looking up at the night, they saw flashes of light far above. They whispered to each other. Some cried, some prayed. No one knew what was happening, but they all felt it. Earth had not abandoned them. One ship had come, and it was fighting for them back in space. The alien commander demanded answers. He screamed at his scientists. How could this be? What was this ship? Was it a trick, a machine of ancient gods, or something darker? But no one had an answer. All they could see was their fleet burning. Their numbers falling, the human ship launched a wave of drones, small machines that darted out like sparks. Each drone carried weapons strong enough to tear apart destroyers. They moved with intelligence, dodging, weaving, striking. The aliens tried to block them, but it was useless. Their lines broke, chaos ruled. The commander realized something then. Something he did not want to believe. This was not Earth's full strength. This was only one ship, one piece of their power, and it was enough to crush him. His pride cracked, his fear grew. He wondered, if this was only the beginning, what would happen if Earth sent a fleet? What if Earth sent its true force? The human ship did not chase every survivor. It let some escape, almost as if it wanted them to run, as if it wanted them to tell the story. The commander fled, his ship burning, his heart shaking. Behind him, the void was filled with wreckage and broken dreams. Ahead of him lay the duty of returning to the Empire, to tell them that humans were not weak, not simple, not foolish, but something far more dangerous. On the human ship's bridge, the captain stood calm, his eyes fixed on the stars. He knew this battle was only the first. He knew the Empire would return with more ships, with greater fury, but he also knew something else. Earth was ready. Earth had secrets that no one in the galaxy had seen tonight. The Empire had only tasted a small piece of what was coming, and already it was afraid. The stars returned to silence. Wreckage floated cold. Fire dimmed. The colony below still shone with lights of human life, protected, alive and unbroken. The humans would sleep under those stars not knowing the full truth, not knowing the storm that was coming. But one day they would, for this was only the arrival, the first spark in a fire that would burn across the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. The news of the battle spread faster than light. Whispers carried through secret channels, broken transmissions, and desperate survivors. The story was always the same. One human ship had destroyed an entire fleet. At first, the High Council of the Empire laughed. They thought it was an exaggeration, a lie, or a trick spread by rebels. But then the survivors arrived, ships scarred, crews pale and shaking, their eyes full of fear. They told the same story again and again. The Emperor himself sat in his golden throne room. His advisors knelt before him. The room was filled with the smell of burning incense and the echo of old war drums. One advisor said humans must have found an ancient relic. Another said it was impossible. No young species could hold such strength. The Emperor listened in silence, his face calm, but his fingers tapped against the arm of his throne, a sign of growing unease. In the shadows of the chamber, spies whispered. They had followed Earth for decades, watching as humans spread slowly into the stars. They saw miners, farmers, small trade ships, a few colonies, nothing more, nothing threatening. But now that image was broken, and with it, the certainty of the Empire. Across the galaxy, alien citizens spoke in hushed tones. In markets, in taverns, in crowded docking bays, they asked the same question. How could one ship fight hundreds? What kind of power did Earth hide? Some laughed nervously, saying it was a myth. But most could not laugh. Most felt something cold crawling in their chest. On one world, far in the core of the Empire, children drew pictures of warships. They painted the human ship as a giant beast with glowing eyes. Their parents scolded them, told them not to speak of it, but the story was already too strong. Already in their dreams, meanwhile, the remnants of the destroyed fleet returned to their home sectors. Their commanders stood in shame before their governors. They could not explain their defeat. Their voices cracked as they tried to describe the white beam of fire, the drones that moved like hunters, the shields that could not be broken. They were mocked by some, but even those who mocked felt the fear in their stomachs. Back on Earth, there was no celebration. The human fleet stayed quiet. The captains and admirals met in silent rooms, planning, whispering. They knew the Empire would not stop. They knew the next wave would be larger, stronger, and filled with vengeance. Yet there was no fear on their faces. Only a calm readiness in one hidden shipyard. Deep inside the shadow of a gas giant, workers moved day and night, assembling warships larger than anything yet seen, their hulls black as night, their cannons glowing faint blue. These ships were still secret, still hidden, and only a few in the galaxy even knew they existed. The ship that destroyed the fleet was only a scout, only the edge of Earth's blade. But the Empire did not know this truth, and the not knowing was worse than any answer. Rumors grew into legends. Some said Earth had captured ancient gods and forced them into engines. Some said humans had discovered a weapon that could rewrite physics. Others whispered of strange experiments, of warriors who could control gravity with their minds. Every rumor was more terrifying than the last. The Emperor ordered a council of war. His greatest generals arrived, dressed in armor polished like mirrors. Each one brought maps of space, plans of attack, and strategies. But behind their proud voices there was doubt. One general said they must strike quickly before Earth grows stronger. Another said they should test Earth with spies and assassins first. But none of them knew the truth. None of them understood humans fully. In the dark corners of the galaxy, rebel groups listened carefully. For years they had feared the Empire, bowed to its endless fleets, but now they saw a chance. Now they whispered of alliances. If humans could defeat the Empire's ships, maybe the rebels could finally be free. The Empire's fear turned into anger. Anger turned into plans. The Emperor stood from his throne and declared the humans would be crushed. He ordered a new armada, thousands of ships, more weapons, more fire, but even as he spoke, his people noticed his voice shook ever so slightly. For the first time in his long reign on the human colonies, the people still lived their simple lives. Many did not know the storm they had caused, but the captains knew. The soldiers knew. The leaders of Earth knew. They prepared silently, letting fear do their work for them, letting the Empire tremble at shadows in space. The wreckage of the first battle still drifted, frozen bodies turning slowly, broken metal glinting against the stars. A silent reminder of what had happened. Patrols from other species found the wreckage. They sent images back to their worlds, images of shattered warships and strange energy burns, and the fear spread even further. The galaxy was changing. Every whisper carried weight. Every rumor became fire. The Empire's heart began to crack, not because Earth had destroyed one fleet, but because they did not know how strong Earth truly was. They feared the unknown. and fear was more dangerous than any weapon. And far away in the quiet of his ship, the human captain looked at a map of stars. His eyes cold and thoughtful. He knew the Empire would come again. He knew they would come with everything they had. But he also knew something the Empire did not. Earth was ready, and what they had seen was only the beginning. The alien fleet that had returned broken from the edge of space carried more than wreckage and scars. It carried a question that no one in the Empire could answer. How strong was Earth truly? The survivors whispered of impossible weapons, shields that could not break and drones that moved like predators. But worst of all, they spoke of calm. They said the human captain did not even look worried, as if this battle had been nothing more than a test. The Emperor sat in silence as the reports piled up. Maps glowed across the war table, showing the stars at the edge of human territory. But something was missing. Spies had gone deeper, seeking the heart of Earth's strength. And what they found chilled even the hardest generals. Hidden inside the shadow of Saturn's rings, there was a shipyard the size of a small moon, entire cities floating in orbit, factories humming day and night. Here massive ships were built, each one larger than the last, warships with hulls dark as the void, engines that glowed like suns. The Empire had believed the destroyed human vessel was a capital ship, their strongest, but in truth it was only a scout. The spy who reported this information sent shaky footage, a grainy image of a colossal hull drifting in dry dock. Workers swarmed like ants across its surface. The scale was overwhelming. The alien spy stared at it through hidden cameras and whispered in disbelief, "This is not a warship. This is a fortress." And then the transmission cut, his signal lost forever. Back in the Empire's War Council, the generals argued. Some wanted to strike immediately before the humans finished building their hidden fleet. Others said no, if humans already had these ships, an attack would mean suicide. Their voices rose and cracked, their fear spilling through polished words. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of human space, inside the shipyards themselves, captains walked along glowing bridges, watching as weapons were installed. They knew the Empire was watching. They allowed small leaks, tiny glimpses of their strength, because fear was a weapon too. One ship, still hidden under black sheets of shielding, was known as the Colossus, its guns stretched like towers, its armor thicker than a mountain. It was said to carry a weapon that could bend gravity itself, sucking enemy fleets into traps of their own. The engineers who worked on it whispered rumors, each rumor stranger and more terrifying than the last. The colony workers never saw the full ships. They only saw parts. Massive engines carried through hangars, weapons glowing with strange light. And when they asked questions, the soldiers only smiled. Silence was its own kind of answer. In the Empire, fear spread faster than commands. Governors of outer worlds started to question the Emperor, asking if it was wise to fight humans at all. Rebel cells that had long been silent began to stir, whispering that maybe Earth could be their savior. Maybe Earth was the storm that could finally break the chains of the Empire. The Emperor tried to crush these whispers. He sent agents to silence the rumors. But the harder he tried, the stronger they grew. Fear was everywhere now. Not only in the soldiers, but in the citizens, in the traders, even in children's stories in a hidden chamber. An old historian unrolled forgotten scrolls of the galaxy's past. He pointed to drawings of an ancient prophecy, of a young race that would rise with fire in their hands and scatter empires into dust. The generals scoffed at him, but their eyes betrayed doubt. Deep in their hearts, they wondered if humans were that prophecy. Far across the stars, on the bridge of a human cruiser, the captain looked at reports of alien scouts being intercepted. He knew the Empire was watching. He let them see just enough. He let them fear, because the truth was greater than even their darkest imagination. The hidden fleet of Earth was not just ships, it was strategy. It was unity. Humans had something the Empire had long forgotten: the will to fight for survival, the will to protect their people at any cost. Their ships were not built for conquest. They were built for defense. But in that defense lay a terrifying truth: if pushed too far, those ships would burn across the stars and leave nothing standing. The Emperor dreamed of human fleets at night, burning through his proud armadas, his throne shaking, his empire crumbling. He woke in cold sweat, his hands trembling. For the first time in his reign, he felt what his enemies once felt: helplessness. And still the humans built, still they prepared, their shipyards alive with fire and light. The Colossus waited, silent and unfinished. The other ships lined in rows like sleeping giants. Every day they grew stronger. Every day the galaxy grew more uncertain. The hidden fleet was no longer just a secret. It was a shadow looming over the galaxy, and even though the Empire had not yet seen it in full, they already feared it because deep inside they all knew. The ship that had destroyed their fleet was nothing. Nothing compared to what was waiting in the darkness of Earth's shipyards, and when the time came when those giants finally woke, the galaxy itself would tremble, and no one, neither the Empire nor the rebels, nor the neutral worlds, would ever look at humans the same again. The stars were silent when the Armada came. Thousands of alien ships cut through the dark, their engines blazing like rivers of fire. The Emperor had ordered this strike himself. His pride demanded it, his fear demanded it. He told his people the humans were weak. He told them victory was certain, but in his heart he knew this was not a battle of strength. It was a battle of time. If Earth was building a hidden fleet, then the Empire must destroy them before those giants awoke. The alien commander of the Armada stood tall on his bridge. His ship stretched for light years. Carriers, cruisers, destroyers, dreadnoughts, more firepower than most species had ever seen. He looked at the map and smiled. Earth would fall, no matter what secrets they held. He was certain of it, but Earth was watching. Deep inside their colonies, hidden eyes tracked the movement of every alien ship. Satellites and drones followed them from the shadows. The human captain who had fought the first battle sat in silence, his face unreadable. His crew waited for orders, and then he gave the command. They would not meet the Empire in open space. They would fight where the stars themselves became weapons. The asteroid field stretched like a graveyard across the black. Millions of rocks drifting, some the size of mountains, others the size of houses. The humans had mapped every path, every orbit, every hidden passage. To the Empire it looked like chaos. To Earth it was a trap waiting to be sprung. The first wave of alien ships entered the field. Their scanners screamed with false signals. Decoys appeared and vanished. Asteroids reflected radar like mirrors. The crews grew uneasy. They fired at shadows, beams of light cutting through empty rock. Explosions sending debris spinning. Their own weapons turned the battlefield into confusion. Then the humans struck. Ships slid out from behind the asteroids, silent and sharp. Their weapons fired with precision, not random, not wild. Each beam struck where it mattered most. Engines, reactors, command towers. Alien cruisers exploded in sudden fire, their wreckage crashing into rocks, sending shockwaves through the field. The alien commander roared for order. He demanded his ships regroup. But the field broke their formations apart. Their vast numbers turned into weakness. Ships collided with each other. Missiles struck friendly targets. Fear spread like smoke. Human drones swarmed again. But this time they carried charges buried inside the asteroids. When they detonated, massive rocks split apart. Fragments tore through alien lines like blades. Ships tried to dodge but crashed into stone. Explosions chained together, lighting up the void like a dying star. From the surface of one hidden asteroid, a human cannon fired a railgun the size of a city. It had been waiting in silence for years. Disguised as part of the rock, now it unleashed metal rods moving faster than sound itself. They tore through dreadnought armor as if it were paper. One by one, the largest alien ships cracked open, spilling fire into the void. The alien commander watched his numbers fall, his mouth dry, his hands shaking. This was no simple ambush. This was a nightmare designed with patience. Every move the humans made was perfect. Every strike planned. He realized then that Earth had known they would come. Earth had waited for this very moment. On the colony below, children stared at the sky again. Flashes painted the night. Parents held their families close. Some prayed, others whispered no one could look away. They all felt it in their hearts. Their defenders were not weak. Their defenders were cunning. In the heart of the asteroid field, a massive shadow moved, the Colossus, the half-finished titan of Earth. It rose slowly from the rocks, its size dwarfing even the largest alien ships. Its hull glowed faintly blue. Its guns hummed with power. The alien commander stared at it in horror. This was not possible. They had been told Earth was primitive. But this ship was beyond anything the Empire had ever imagined. The Colossus did not fire its main weapon. It did not need to. Its presence alone was enough. Its secondary cannons spoke instead. Beams of fire raked through cruisers. Missiles streaked into the dark. Enemy formations crumbled. Dread spread faster than the explosions. The alien commander realized he could not win. His fleet was too large to maneuver, too clumsy in the chaos of rocks and shadows. The humans had turned the battlefield into their weapon. He gave the order to retreat, but it was too late. The trap had closed. As the survivors fled, broken and scattered, they carried more than wounds, they carried fear. The story would spread again, not just of one human ship, but of traps, of titans, of hidden weapons waiting in the dark. The Empire would hear of this and tremble. On the bridge of the Colossus, the human captain stood silent. His crew looked at him with awe. They had won not through numbers, but through patience, through cunning, through the will to survive. He knew the Empire would come again, stronger, angrier, but he also knew something deeper with every battle. The galaxy learned a new truth. Earth was not weak. Earth was not helpless. Earth was rising. The stars grew quiet again, only wreckage remained. Asteroids drifted with scars, fire dimmed, but the trap had been sprung, and its echo would carry across the galaxy, louder than any victory song. The galaxy had gone silent after the battle in the asteroid field. Whispers filled the stars. The mighty Empire had lost thousands of ships, destroyed not by equal numbers but by traps, by human cunning, by a fleet that seemed too small to be real. The survivors spoke of asteroids breaking apart, of hidden cannons inside rocks, of drones moving like hunters. But above all, they spoke of a shadow so large it blotted out the stars. That shadow had a name whispered in fear. The Colossus, the half-finished titan of Earth. The aliens who saw it swore it was not a ship, but a moving fortress, its hull dark and endless, its guns glowing like the eyes of gods. Some survivors even refused to describe it. They said the memory of looking upon it made their hearts freeze. The Emperor listened to these reports in silence. His throne room filled with the smell of burning incense once more. His generals shouted. They demanded explanations. Some said it was a trick. Others swore it was true. The Emperor clenched his fists. His empire had ruled for thousands of years. No enemy had ever dared to build something greater than their dreadnoughts. But now a young species had dared. And worse, they had succeeded far across the stars. In the hidden shipyards of Saturn, the Colossus stirred again. Its massive engines hummed like distant thunder. Workers swarmed across its endless hull, installing weapons that no alien eye had ever seen. The humans worked in silence, knowing that time was short. The Empire would come again, and next time it would come with everything it had. The Colossus was unlike anything built before. It carried weapons that did not only destroy, they rewrote the battlefield itself. One of its cannons bent light, creating illusions of entire fleets. Another weapon dragged asteroids into enemy formations, turning space itself into a storm. Deep inside its core rested a weapon even the human crew whispered about, a weapon so powerful it had not yet been tested. When the Colossus finally left its dock, the stars seemed to tremble. Smaller human ships flew beside it like children next to a mountain. Their commanders stared at its endless hull, their hearts filled with both awe and relief. They knew this ship was not just a machine. It was a message. The Empire sent scouts to track it. Small ships hidden in the void. They expected to watch from a distance. But the Colossus saw them. Its sensors burned through their stealth. Its weapons silenced them with beams that left no wreckage. The scouts vanished without a word. The Empire waited for reports that never came. The humans allowed only one scout to escape. One terrified alien who saw the Colossus rise and fire its smaller cannons. One survivor who fled with a broken mind. He told his masters the truth, and the truth was worse than any rumor. The Emperor called another council of war. His generals' voices cracked as they argued. Some said to sue for peace. Others said to gather every fleet, every weapon, and strike with fury. But all of them feared the same question. If the Colossus was only one ship, how many more were waiting? Meanwhile, in the hidden chambers of Earth's high command, the captain spoke quietly. The Colossus was not meant to fight alone. It was meant to be the heart of a new fleet. Around it, other titans were being born, each one carrying weapons of strange design. Earth was not just defending itself anymore. Earth was shaping a force that could change the galaxy. On distant colonies, human children looked to the skies and smiled. They drew pictures of the Colossus, their imaginations full of pride. They did not know the full truth. They did not know the storm waiting to come, but they felt safe. For the first time, they felt their world could not be crushed. But in the heart of the Empire, fear turned into panic. Governors of border worlds begged for protection. Soldiers deserted their posts. Rebellions whispered louder. Some even sent secret messages to Earth, offering alliance in exchange for survival. The humans did not answer yet. They stayed silent, letting fear grow on its own. When the Colossus moved through space, alien ships gave it distance they refused to approach. Their scanners failed to read its full power. Their captains whispered prayers instead of orders. No one wanted to be the first to face it. The human captain of the Colossus stood calm on its bridge, the stars reflected in his eyes. His crew trusted him completely. He did not boast, he did not speak of conquest. But he knew what the Empire was learning. Fear was already breaking them, and soon, when the time came, Earth would not just defend, Earth would decide. The Colossus turned slowly in the dark, its weapons glowing faintly. The galaxy watched and held its breath. The Empire trembled, the rebels dreamed, and the humans prepared. Because the Titan was not just a ship, it was a promise. A promise that the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. And somewhere deep inside the Empire's golden palace, the Emperor whispered to himself in the darkness, his voice shaking, "If this is only the beginning, then what will the end look like?" The galaxy was no longer quiet. Whispers of the Colossus had spread to every corner of known space. The mighty empire that once ruled with fear and endless fleets was now the one being feared. Their ships had been torn apart, their commanders humiliated, and their citizens left with one haunting question. If one human titan could stand against thousands, what chance did anyone truly have? On distant border worlds, governors held secret meetings, their voices trembling as they argued. Some demanded loyalty to the emperor. Others whispered that the humans might be the future. One governor slammed his hand against the table and said what many were too afraid to speak. If Earth can destroy fleets this easily, then maybe it is safer to stand with them than against them. Silence followed. But no one disagreed. Rebel groups that had hidden in shadows for generations now came alive. They painted human symbols on their walls. They spread rumors that Earth would free them. Smugglers carried these stories from one system to another. In dark cantinas and crowded markets, aliens gathered to listen, their voices hushed, their eyes wide with both hope and fear. The Emperor tried to crush this tide of betrayal. He sent soldiers to silence uprisings. He executed governors who hesitated, but even his fury could not stop the cracks from spreading. Fear was stronger than his commands, and hope was stronger than his threats. Inside the Empire's council, generals shouted at each other. One screamed that Earth must be destroyed before more races turned against them. Another whispered that they had already lost. Their voices grew louder until the Emperor rose from his throne. His eyes burning, he swore the Empire would not fall. But deep inside, he too felt the tremor of doubt. Meanwhile, on Earth, the leaders watched in silence. They did not push the galaxy to their side. They did not send diplomats or promises. They simply let the truth of their strength do the work. And it worked better than any speech could. In hidden shipyards, more titans stirred. Not just the Colossus, but its brothers and sisters. Each designed for different horrors. One carried weapons that could blind entire fleets. Another had armor so thick that no beam could pierce it. Humans were not only defending, they were preparing. Their fleet was no longer a secret. It was a shadow spreading wider with each passing day. The galaxy's balance began to shift. Old allies of the Empire hesitated. Smaller species that had once bowed their heads now looked at Earth with cautious respect. Some sent secret envoys, offering information, offering resources, begging for protection. Earth listened, but Earth remained silent. On a mining moon controlled by the Empire, a rebellion erupted. The soldiers who tried to crush it found themselves surrounded, not only by rebels but by whispers. "The humans are coming." The soldiers looked to the skies, half believing, half terrified. And when no humans came, the rebels shouted louder, "They are watching! They will protect us." Fear and hope mixed into something unstoppable. The Colossus moved quietly through the void, its shadow stretching across stars. Whenever alien patrols caught sight of it, they turned away. No one wanted to be the one to fire first. No one wanted to wake the beast. It had not yet unleashed its true weapon. But the galaxy already treated it like a god. On the bridge of the Colossus, the human captain studied maps of the Empire, his voice calm as he spoke to his crew. He told them the Empire was breaking itself apart. He told them the humans did not need to chase victory. They only needed to wait. Every day the Empire grew weaker. Every day fear grew stronger. In the heart of the Golden Palace, the Emperor stood before his people. He shouted of glory, of vengeance, of crushing the human threat, his words echoed. But his people's eyes were empty. They no longer believed. The shadow of Earth loomed too large. Children in the streets of alien worlds played games. Pretending to be human soldiers, they drew giant ships in the dust. Their laughter carried through alleys. Their parents watched in silence, afraid, for even their children now believed more in Earth than in the Empire. And so the galaxy shifted. Not with a battle, not with fire, but with whispers. Alliances cracked, rebels rose, governors trembled, and the Empire felt its grip slipping. All because of one truth, one undeniable truth. Earth had revealed only a fraction of its power. And already the mighty Empire was breaking apart. The human captain looked out at the stars, his face calm, his voice quiet. He whispered to himself, "We do not need to conquer. They are tearing themselves apart for us." And as the Colossus drifted silently through the dark, the galaxy trembled, waiting for the next move. For months the galaxy had whispered. For months the Colossus drifted in silence, its shadow breaking the will of entire fleets. Rebellions had grown. Governors had turned traitor. The Empire cracked with every passing day, and still Earth said nothing. No demand, no threat, no promise, only silence. The silence was worse than war. It gnawed at the minds of the Empire's people. What did humans want? Why did they not speak? Were they waiting for the perfect moment to strike? Or were they letting the galaxy destroy itself? The Emperor raged in his throne room, his generals feared him, but none could answer, none knew the truth. And then one night the silence broke across the stars. Every comm channel, every broadcast, every beacon filled with static. Voices shouted in confusion. Screens flickered, codes scrambled. Then a single signal cut through, steady, calm, and terrifyingly human. The image appeared, a man in a simple uniform. No crown, no armor, no grand throne. Behind him the stars stretched endless. His voice was quiet, but it carried more weight than 1,000 war drums. "We are the people of Earth," he said. "We did not come to conquer. We did not come to enslave. We came to survive." His words echoed across markets. Across palaces, across broken ships, millions held their breath. For centuries we lived in silence, building, waiting, growing. While your empire spread across the stars with chains and fear, we did not challenge you, we did not seek war. But when you came to our worlds, when you tried to crush us, you woke something you cannot control. In crowded taverns, aliens stared at the screens. Some cried, some whispered prayers. Others clenched their fists with hope. The message was not just for the Empire. It was for them too. The human continued, his eyes steady. "You fear the Colossus, you fear our fleet, but know this. What you have seen is not our full strength. It is not even half. We showed you only enough to survive. But if you force us further, if you strike again, we will finish this war in a way the galaxy will never forget." Gasps spread across the stars. The calm in his voice was worse than rage, worse than shouting. It was the voice of someone who had no doubt. Someone who knew his words were truth. The Emperor watched from his golden throne. His hands shook. His people looked at him, their eyes no longer loyal. They were afraid not of him but of the humans. The message did not end with threats. The man's voice softened. "We do not wish to rule. We do not wish to sit on thrones of gold. We only wish to live free, to protect our people, to ensure our children grow without fear. But understand this, if you force us into war, we will not stop until the stars themselves remember the cost of your pride." And then the signal ended. Silence returned, but it was not the same silence as before. Now it was heavier. Now it was filled with meaning. In the streets of alien worlds, crowds erupted. Some cheered, some wept. Others shouted rebellions into the night. In secret bunkers, rebel leaders smiled. Their hope ignited. They now had more than rumors. They had Earth's voice, they had Earth's promise. Inside the Empire's war council, generals avoided the Emperor's gaze. Some whispered that perhaps peace was better, that perhaps they should listen. Others feared even speaking. The cracks in loyalty spread faster. Wider, unstoppable, on the bridge of the Colossus. The human captain lowered the transmission controls. His crew sat in silence. They knew the weight of what had just been done. For months they had let fear work on its own. But now the galaxy had been given a choice. Stand with the Empire, or stand with Earth. The captain turned to his officers and spoke softly. "We do not need to move first. The galaxy will move for us." His words brought nods. His crew understood they had not declared conquest. They had declared survival, and yet that was enough to shake the stars. The Emperor could not sleep that night. He walked his halls in silence, hearing the whispers of his own guards. He stared at the golden walls of his palace, and for the first time, he wondered if gold could melt under fire. He wondered if his empire was already lost. Not to weapons, but to fear and far away. On a quiet colony world, a child looked up at the stars. She had heard the human's voice. She whispered to her friends, Earth will protect us. And in her simple words was the truth of the new galaxy. The balance had shifted. The fear had changed sides. The message of Earth would not fade, it would spread like fire. And the galaxy would never forget the day silence broke. The Emperor could not escape the echo of the human message. Even in his dreams he heard it. The calm voice promising survival. The quiet warning that the Empire would be finished if it struck again. His throne no longer felt steady beneath him. The Golden Palace no longer felt safe. Outside his walls his people whispered. Soldiers doubted. Governors plotted and rebels rose. He called for his last loyal generals. They gathered in the great war hall. Their armor polished, their faces pale. He told them Earth must be crushed in one final strike, if the Empire was to survive. It must destroy the humans completely, they bowed. But their eyes betrayed doubt still. The Emperor forced them forward. From the core of the Empire, the last armada was born. It was larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. A storm of ships, dreadnoughts, and carriers. Thousands upon thousands, the Emperor himself would lead them. His flagship a colossal fortress bristling with weapons. It was meant to be a symbol of dominance. A promise to his people that the Empire still ruled. The galaxy watched in silence as the armada moved. Entire worlds shook with fear. The rebels whispered that this was the end. One way or another, either Earth would fall, or the Empire would burn. But on the bridge of the Colossus, the human captain stood calm. His officers looked to him, waiting, and he said only one thing: they are coming, but they will not find what they seek. His words carried certainty, not arrogance. The crew felt it in their bones. The trap was not in an asteroid field this time. It was not in shadows or illusions. It was in the very heart of human strength. The humans did not send their full fleet. They sent only a fraction, a handful of ships beside the Colossus, to meet the greatest armada the galaxy had ever known. The Emperor laughed when his scouts reported this. He thought it was a mistake. He thought the humans had grown overconfident. He swore the stars would soon be cleansed of their shadow, but deep inside a cold doubt gnawed at him. The battle began with fire. The Empire's ships unleashed endless storms of energy. Beams of light cut across space, missiles filled the void. The Colossus vanished into smoke and flame. The Emperor roared with triumph, but then the smoke cleared, and the Titan remained. Its shields glowed brighter, its hull untouched. The Empire's strongest weapons meant nothing. Then the Colossus answered, its main cannon, silent until now, awoke. The stars themselves seemed to bend as the weapon fired. A beam of white fire tore through the Emperor's fleet. Entire squadrons vanished in an instant. Dreadnoughts broke apart, their wreckage spinning silently into the dark. The armada that had once filled the void now looked small, fragile. The Emperor shouted for his ships to press forward, to surround the humans, but the battlefield betrayed him. The Colossus bent gravity itself, dragging enemy ships into collision. Turning their numbers into chains, the Empire's own strength strangled it. Ships slammed into each other. Fire lit the void like a dying sun. The human fleet moved like hunters, precise and calm. Every shot found its mark. Every strike broke the Empire further. The Colossus loomed at the center, its weapons painting death with each pulse. On worlds across the galaxy, citizens watched the transmissions. They saw the Empire's pride shatter. They saw the Titan of Earth burn through ships thought to be invincible. Rebellions erupted in cheers. Chains were broken. The old fear of the Empire turned to dust, replaced by something new. The fear of Earth and the hope of Earth. The Emperor's flagship shook under the weight of fire. Alarms screamed, his guards fell. His throne room filled with smoke. Still he refused to surrender. He roared into the void, swearing the Empire would never bow, but no one listened. His words were swallowed by silence. On the bridge of the Colossus, the human captain gave one last order. Calm as ever, a final beam lanced out, cutting through the Emperor's flagship. The golden fortress cracked, split, and exploded, the light brighter than a star. The Empire's heart gone in an instant. Silence returned to the void. The armada was broken, the Emperor was gone, and the galaxy trembled. But Earth did not cheer. Earth did not celebrate. The captain looked at the wreckage and spoke softly to his crew. This is not victory, this is warning. We will not rule, but we will not bow. His words echoed in the silence. A vow that Earth would survive but never conquer. Across the stars, alien worlds looked up with new eyes, some with fear, some with hope. The Empire had crumbled. The old order was gone. The galaxy belonged to no throne, no crown. only to the uncertainty of what humans would choose next. And as the Colossus drifted among the wreckage, its shadow vast and unbroken, one truth settled into the hearts of every living being. The galaxy had changed forever, Earth had risen, and nothing would ever be the same.